What's up, fight fans? Greg Rowe Show Boxing. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the Shakur Stevenson fight last night, his performance, and kind of what I'm seeing from fight fans, and give you my opinion on kind of what they're saying. Seeing a lot of people, that are fans of his, that are fans of, that kind of slick, crafty boxing, the hit and don't get hit style, coming out and saying that it was a masterful performance, that because he has that much skill, that they would favor him over this guy or that guy, and that if you don't appreciate it or you don't understand what you're watching, then you're an idiot and all that kind of stuff. And then on the flip side of that, you have the people that are like, that was boring, it was absurd, like he would never beat these guys, like it was just garbage, this and that. And I'm also seeing a bunch of people that are coming out being like, I was disappointed, I was shocked, I was surprised. Like, how were you shocked, disappointed, or surprised by the performance? Like, that's how Shakur Stevenson fights. I don't know what else to tell you. It's not like he just morphed into something that he's not. That's the kind of style he has. That's the kind of skill set he has. And that's how he's going to fight. Are there going to be some fights against some, maybe lesser opponents or whatever that, he may open up a little more and stuff like that? Sure there is. But for the most part, that's how the guy fights. He's a crafty, slick boxer. He's a good counter puncher. He can hit you and not get hit. And for some people that's what they like. For some people that's what they hate, right? For me, I look at it this way, right? I appreciate that kind of skill because I understand what it takes and how hard that is. Now, I never fought professionally. Couple amateur fights, more, sparring and being in the gym type thing. I'm never going to try and pretend that I was a great amateur fighter or that I was a pro or was going to turn pro. I just wasn't. I didn't start early enough in my life for any of that to really be realistic. I started when I started, and I did, what I felt like I could do, and just realized, I was probably going to be better at, covering, breaking down boxing than I was actually being a fighter. And does that mean that I was complete dog shit? No. I could fight, I could box. I knew my way around the ring pretty decently, shit like that. So I understand when I watch something like that, how difficult that is to do. Like how well you have to know the game, how well you have to know your way around the ring, how well you need to understand, be able to judge distance, how you have to be able to see something before it happens. It takes a high fight IQ to be able to fight like that. And it also takes really good athleticism and reflexes, right? Not everybody can do that. It takes a special type of fighter with special athleticism and reflexes to be able to fight like that. Because if you're holding your hands down here and sometimes dropping them and you're kind of sticking your head out at somebody, like you have to be able to have like quick enough reflexes to be able to get out of the way when someone's throwing a jab or something, to pull out, to slip it, whatever. Like that takes high fight IQ, it takes athleticism, it takes reflexes. So I understand how hard that is. So I'm not ever going to trash somebody that fights that way, because I know personally how difficult that is, right? Being in the gym, if you've ever been in a gym and you sparred, you know that there are different kinds of guys that you're going to get in the ring with, that you're going to spar with. There are going to be some dudes that are, more flat-footed, and they have heavy hands, and they have high motors, and they're going to stay on you, and they're going to be busy, and they're not going to let you breathe and stuff like that. And there's going to be guys that you're going to be in there with that are going to want to box you, make you look stupid, make you miss, and make you pay. Like there's different guys in the gym that you're going to spar with, or that you're going to fight with if you're a professional or turning professional. So I understand how hard that is, so I appreciate that, for one. Having said that, do I understand that there's fight fans out there that get frustrated with that, etc.? Yes, I do. I do get it. There's a lot of fight fans that, really like guys who are going to, come out there and try and score the knockout. They're going to press the action. They're going to take risks, right? I believe you can be a great fighter without taking risks. Do I believe you can be an all-time great fighter without taking risks? In my own eyes, no. But the game has changed, right? It used to be that way. Like, you could be a great fighter, you could be a good fighter and not take risks. But if you really wanted to be an all-time great fighter, you had to take risks. Like, you look at fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker. You look at Roy Jones Jr., Roberto Duran. I mean, these guys had all the skill in the world, all the skill you would ever want as a fighter. And could they have sat back and just boxed guys and pot shotted them and moved and counter punched and made faces and all that stuff all night? Yeah, every single one of them could have done that. But they chose not to. They chose to have that ability, but they chose to come into the fight, be aggressive, and try and score the knockout, right? That killer instinct. And not all fighters have that, right? Not all fighters have that in them. Does Shakur have that in him? I don't know, right? We talk about right now, the hot fighter right now is Terrence Crawford, right? He has all the skill in the world. He could do exactly what Shakur did, but he doesn't because he's a dog, right? He's what we call a dog. He's a real dog, right? He goes in there and he's looking to knock your fucking face off. Right? He's knock your head into the third row. That's what he's attempting to do. He doesn't have to do that, but he chooses to do that, right? And so that's the difference between fighters like Crawford and Shakur. Is Shakur going to learn from this performance and maybe in his next fight take more risks, try and be more exciting because he knows there's a lot on the line as far as marketability, pay-per-view, all that kind of stuff? I think we probably will see him take more risks and open up a little more in his next fight. Is he going to talk with Terrence Crawford? Is Terrence Crawford going to have some of these things to say to him? I imagine he will. I imagine he'll say, dude, like, look, you have all the skill in the world. You can make that shit look as easy as you want it to be. But if you want to go to that next level, you want to get to possibly where I'm at, you're going to have to take some more risks. You're going to have to try and be more exciting. I think that all those kind of things are going to happen. So I would expect, the next time Shakur's out, I would expect him to be more exciting than he was last night. I grew up in an era when, I was watching Duran and Hagler and Hearns and Leonard and Chavez and Camacho and Tyson and Holmes and all these guys that had tons and tons of skill, but they were fucking savages, right? They were savages in the ring. Like, my all-time favorite fighter is Mike Tyson. And if, you watch him fight, like you watch the Tucker fight, he could box with a guy like that all night if he wanted to. Like, if the knockout wasn't there, but he didn't choose to do that, right? That wasn't his game plan. That wasn't like plan A, let's go. Like, he was going in there, I know I can do this, but I'm in seek and destroy mode. I'm trying to be exciting. I'm trying to be savage. I'm trying to get the exciting, highlight reel knockout. I'm trying to be an entertainer and be exciting and explosive. And those are the type of guys I like. The Tysons, the Jones, the Hearns, the Durans, the Leonards, the Haglers, the Chavezes. Those are the guys that I like. Because they had all the skill, but they looked to be exciting. They looked for the knockout. They looked to take risks because they knew taking risks would be a greater reward at the end of the rainbow, right? That they would if they come in and they fight a certain guy this way, it may stay like this and you may stay undefeated and whatever. But if you're stepping up in weight class or you're in there with a guy, who, you could just box and you start trying to score the knockout and maybe you get hit, maybe you get dropped, maybe it's a harder fight than normal, then your stock's going to start doing this, right? Because you're exciting, and you're trying to score the knockout. And ultimately, that's what most people want to see. Not everybody, but most people, right? And I think somewhere along the lines, along the Floyd Mayweather transition from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather, I think a flip was switched in boxing with other fighters coming up and with a lot of fight fans in thinking that just that if you have an O, that is more important than anything else. And you know what? For Floyd Mayweather, he can say that because he made all the money, he did all this, he did all that. But that's one instance. Like, that's an isolated instance, right? It's not like that for everybody. And I think that a lot of fight fans and a lot of fighters that are coming up now think that that's the only way, to be successful, to get fans, to do whatever. And it's not, right? Like, taking risks, making big fights, trying to be exciting, like all of those things are what raises your stock, right? It's not just the O, right? Floyd Mayweather is an isolated instance, and I don't think a lot of fight fans know that, right? He Jedi mind tricked young fighters coming up and a certain portion of fight fans into thinking that the most important thing was your and how flashy you are and how much you can talk, as opposed to like the risks you take. You know, what type of fighter you are. Are you trying to go out on your shield? Are you trying to score the knockout? Are you moving up weight classes? Are you challenging yourself? Are you trying to take on other guys in their primes, other guys that are bigger in their primes? Like, that's the way boxing used to work, right? That's how your stock used to rise. That's how you would go from that good to great to all-time great, ranking. And now it's not like that. And I'd like to see boxing get back to the old ways. I'm not sure that it will, but I think that, Tank's performance against Garcia and Crawford's performance against Spence hopefully are indications of what's to come, right? Fighters, promoters, networks, other fighters, fight fans are starting to see, hey, you can still have all the skill in the world. You can be in big fights, but when you step on the gas and you do damage and you're looking to take the other guy out, and you do, it makes that fight go from here to here, right? So I'm hoping we get back there, but we'll see, obviously. With Showtime shutting down, I heard that Heyman PBC may be trying to go to Amazon. Like, we'll just have to see how all these things shake out. Hopefully the landscape of boxing changes. Hopefully we start to see more of these big fights sooner rather than later. Hopefully some of these big fighters learned from, the Spence Crawfords, the Tank Garcias, and from the Shakur fight that, it pays to be this type of fighter. It doesn't necessarily pay to be this fighter. It doesn't matter what you've heard, what you've been told, what you thought. Hopefully we start seeing more of this and less of this. So that's my thoughts on that. That's my thoughts on him, kind of the current landscape of boxing. Let me know what you think in the comments section below about the fight, about Shakur, what's next, what you hope to see. Do you hope to see more fights like Spence and Crawford, or do you, like the kind of fight you saw out of Shakur Stevenson last night? So thumbs up if you liked the video. Leave a comment in the section below. Subscribe to the channel if you want. Share the video. And until the next one, I'm out of here.